On CVM this Saturday, a Manning Cup doubleheader at 1:15, the Noon Park High play Eltham, while at 3:30, Calabar play Stats. I'm Gio. On behalf of Michaela and Nathan, hasta la vista. See you guys next week.
Hi everyone, my name is Kurt Dunn.
Greetings from Cali's Cali Yoga.
Hey, it's Robin Morrison, and I am your National Physical Activity Specialist. And it's time to make a move.
Jamaica, let's get moving again. Season 2 of the Ministry of Health and Wellness Jamaica Move series is here. Join us Wednesdays at 5 a.m. and Saturdays at 8 a.m. right here on CVM TV. Let's get moving.
Make a move now.
Small business owners and independent contractors get affordable insurance with Sagicor Pro Shield. The time by Sagicor Life is
7 o'clock. Coming up in CVM News at 7. 5 dead in 24-hour bloodbath on Jamaica's roads. And suspect in police hit-and-run now in custody. Also, government pledges swift rebuilding after Lucy Market fire. And in sports, title-chasing jockeys Stephen Foster and Radish Roman hit 100 mark at Caymanas Park. From Kingston, Jamaica, this is CVM News at 7, the weekend edition. It's Saturday, October 5, 2024. I'm Ramon Gordon. 5 people have been killed in just 24 hours in a string of crashes across the island, pushing the National Road death toll to a staggering 284. The National Road Safety Council, NRSC, has described the situation as a crisis, calling for urgent interventions. More in this report. Vice Chairman of the National Road Safety Council, NRSC, Dr. Lucian Jones, has labeled the last several hours as absolute mayhem, bellowing the urgent need for better road safety compliance among drivers.
Yes, we are down 11% compared to last year. But last year was an absolute disaster when 487 persons died. We cannot go back there.
One crash occurred early Saturday morning along Spot Valley Main Road in St. James, where 2 motorcyclists traveling in opposite directions collided head-on. Both men suffered severe injuries and were pronounced dead at the scene. In a similar tragedy in St. Anne on Friday morning, a motorcyclist lost control of his bike and crashed into a truck while attempting to overtake a line of traffic on the Valley Main Road. The 20-year-old male victim died on the spot. Hours later in Manchester, 26-year-old Jerome Cassie from Hanbury was killed when his motorcycle collided with a Suzuki Jimny along the Mount Olivet Main Road. And out in Westmoreland, the carnage continued, where a passenger in a Freightliner truck died after another truck's door swung open and struck the vehicle he was in. Jones says the situation is dire, pointing to motorcyclists' refusal to wear helmets and other safety gear as a major contributor to the high death toll. Of the 94 motorcyclists killed this year, the majority were not wearing helmets at the time of the crash.
This is a national emergency, and it's happening far too often, where we have this surge in the number of people who die. And if we are not careful, we can head right back to what happened last year.
The NRSC is calling for an immediate review of road safety policies and increased resources for law enforcement agencies to stem the bloodletting.
Those who are being distracted by the use of cell phone, those who are driving and not wearing helmets. We have to find a way to beef up the enforcement, including the use of cameras, to catch those who are breaking the law and to warn those who intend to before they meet in a crash and die.
Ramon Gordon for CVM News. And the suspect in the hit and run that critically injured a police officer in St. James is now in custody. He turned himself in earlier today, accompanied by his attorney. The incident left the constable hospitalized in critical condition. Meanwhile, Counsel for the Rose Hall Division, Anthony Murray, is urging motorists, especially motorcyclists, to exercise extreme caution and wear their safety gear to stem the continued carnage on the country's roads. His concern comes as two brothers from his division perished Friday evening during a motorcycle crash. We'll have that story later in our newscast. An American veterinarian is facing charges under Jamaica's new Firearms Act after several rounds of ammunition were discovered in his luggage at the Sangster International Airport on Thursday. The accused has been identified as 34-year-old Clint Martin from Tennessee. He has been formally charged with unauthorized possession of ammunition. According to reports, Martin was undergoing security checks when anomalies were detected in a bag bearing his name. Police were summoned and a search revealed a magazine containing 12 9mm rounds of ammunition. Martin was arrested and taken into custody. He is set to appear before the Western Regional Gun Court on Monday, October 7. And 4 firearms and 57 rounds of ammunition were seized during a police raid at a party in Central Village, St. Catherine, on Saturday morning. The St. Catherine South Police has reported that the operation was carried out between 3 and 5 a.m. at a premises on Central Road where the guns and ammunition were found hidden at the back of the property. No arrests have been made in connection with the seizure, but investigations are, of course, ongoing. Meanwhile, a 48-hour curfew has been enforced in several communities across Westmoreland, including Geneva, Top Lincoln, Kings Valley, Belle Isle Road, and Crowder. The curfew, which began at 6 p.m. on Friday, October 4, will remain in effect until 6 p.m. on Sunday, October 6. Residents are required to stay within their premises unless authorized by law enforcement. The police have outlined the boundaries of the curfew, which stem from Peggy Barry Primary School to the Fullersfield community in the south. Still on national security, the Jamaica Constabulary Force and the Jamaica Defense Force are ramping up their efforts in the fight against criminal gangs. In a joint initiative, the security forces launched a national campaign targeting gang activity across the island. Our reporter Raheem White has the details.
It's a coordinated assault on gangs, says Jamaica's law enforcement. Marking a new chapter in the nation's security efforts, the initiative led by the Commissioner of Police Dr. Kevin Blake and the Chief of Defense Staff Vice Admiral Vince Gorman brings together the full force of both the JCF and the JDF to address the pressing issue of gang violence.
This assault on criminal network is aimed at dismantling the gangs that threaten safety and viability of our communities.
The newly launched Interagency Operations Forum, co-chaired by Colonel Query of the Jamaica Defense Force and a senior official of the JCF, is at the forefront of this mission. The forum unites leaders.
We apologize for that. We're moving on now. The government has committed to swiftly restoring the Lucy Market following a devastating fire on Friday that left vendors counting millions in losses. Local Government Minister Desmond McKenzie says support is on the way to ensure that the 28 destroyed stalls, selling everything from ground provisions to clothing, are back in operation as soon as possible. The early morning blaze gutted sections of the market, destroying goods like fish, coal and electrical appliances. One vendor estimates her losses to be over $500,000. MP and PNP caretaker for Hanover Western, Heather Miller-Bennett, has expressed concern for the vendors and is praising the firefighter injured while tackling the blaze for his bravery and service.
Because they were out there trying, but they run out of water. Or they try to get water from out of the hydrant. Now Lucy, not worth it. So they have to left and go Green Island for water. And it is so sad to know that we cry so much to NWC about the water situation. And this is what reaches us now.
But I call the money and buy the coal trade and shop.
So you used to sell coal?
And my dad said, much I can make and the meat and the fridge.
So everything gone?
Everything. niece car, brand niece car. My daughter said, Mommy, everything gone up here, everything is gone up all. Is everything gone on?
Back to the story on national security, where the Jamaica Constabulary Force and the Jamaica Defense Force join forces.
It's a coordinated assault on gangs, says Jamaica's law enforcement. Marking a new chapter in the nation's security efforts, the initiative led by the Commissioner of Police Dr. Kevin Blake and the Chief of Defense Staff Vice Admiral Vince Gorman brings together the full force of both the JCF and the JDF to address the pressing issue of gang violence.
This assault on criminal network is aimed at dismantling the gangs that threaten safety and viability of our communities.
The newly launched Interagency Operations Forum, co-chaired by Colonel Query of the Jamaica Defense Force and a senior official of the JCF, is at the forefront of this mission. The forum unites leaders from across Jamaica's security and correction agencies to strategically target gang members and dismantle their operations.
Co-chaired by Colonel Query of the Jamaica Defense Force and myself, as we continue the work of degrading gangs in our country.
With the commanders from the JCF and the JDF, as well as key partners like the Department of Corrections and the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency MOCA, the operation promises a seamless and effective collaboration between police and military forces. Island-wide, residents can expect to see heightened security presence as joint police and military teams execute targeted operations. These actions are based on the intelligence and investigative findings aimed at apprehending the individuals at the heart of the violent crime.
We are focused on apprehending wanted and other individuals who are at the center of violent crimes. I can assure you this is already yielding positive results.
As these operations gain momentum, security leaders are urging the public to be active participants in the mission, emphasizing that the fight against gangs requires a nationwide support. Raheem White, CVM News.
Now to that story we teased earlier, where Counsel for the Rose Hall Division, Anthony Murray, is urging motorists, especially motorcyclists, to exercise extreme caution and wear their safety gear to stem the continued carnage on the road. Now, as you will recall, his concern comes after two brothers perished in his division on Friday. Nika Lewis with more.
To many Jamaicans, these men were just numbers adding to the country's statistics from road deaths. But to those who knew and loved them, brothers Ken Roy Miller, otherwise called Gunny, and Vin Roy Miller, otherwise called Stammer, were much more. They were people with whom they shared experiences, fond memories, and dreams. Both men were 29 and both were construction workers of Spot Valley, gone on the same evening. Their vehicle of death, the motorcycle. It's left a stain on the division, now eerie with frequent deadly crashes.
This division, we have been seeing there's an increase in the number of accidents related to motorbikes, especially in the Spot Valley area. And so I'm appealing to our motorists, who are especially those in that particular road, to be careful on the road, to ride within the speed limit, and most importantly, also wear your protective gears, your helmet.
He is aware of the gravity of the latest incident that has come closer home, given those affected.
They weren't wearing those protective helmet that they need to, that is required. And the law is so designed so that to protect them in the event of an accident. Once you're riding within the speed limit and you're wearing the protective limit, the likelihood of you surviving when you meet in an accident would increase significantly. And so I'm making an appeal this evening as your councillor to please, to my constituents and to the wider Jamaicans, to say when you're using these motorbikes and riding them, please ride within the prescribed limit and also wear your protective gears.
The plea for him is the same as those before him and others far removed from that space, but not the issue. Safety first on the nation's roads.
These motorbikes that you're riding, that they are road worthy, they meet the requirement of the law, so that you're protected in the event that there's an accident. And I'm able to substantiate that claim, but I'm going to say that make sure that these vehicles, that when you're using the road, they are road ready, so that in the event of an accident, you're protected.
Nika Lewis, CVM News.
More CVM News at 7 after this quick break.
JN Bank Small Business Loans is linked to so many stories of ordinary Jamaicans and their extraordinary success.
We're very proud to have helped small, medium, and micro businesses come to life and thrive over the years.
It's a demonstration of our strong belief in the business ambitions of Jamaicans. Come, talk to us. Tell us your business. Let's start a partnership and let your business plans appear in real life.
Father, what you doing again?
Writing the opera Isaiah.
Isaiah?
Jamaican opera, master.
Jamaican opera?
Yes. It's about the greatest of prophets.
When is it going to be?
5th and 6th of October.
One
weekend only.
Where can I get my ticket?
You have to check social media, master.
Social media?
Social media.
But Father, you got high-tech, man.
Yeah, man.
Isaiah, October 5 and 6 at the National Arena. 1 weekend only. Don't you miss it.
Welcome back, continuing with the news. The opposition People's National Party has welcomed Jamaica's signing of the High Seas Treaty, calling it a crucial move to protect marine biodiversity. But they are now urging the government to clarify its position on deep-sea mining, which is seen as conflicting with the treaty's principles. Opposition spokesperson on environment, Senator Sophia Fraser-Binns, says ratifying the treaty is a needed next step, adding that Jamaica should ensure its policies align with the conservation goals outlined in the agreement. The Jamaica Environment Trust, JET, has also voiced concerns, noting that deep-sea mining poses a severe risk to marine ecosystems. The NGO is pushing for a temporary ban on such activities, given the environmental damage associated with the practice. JET CEO Dr. Teresa Rodriguez Moody expressed cautious optimism about the treaty signing, but criticized the lack of clarity from the government regarding its stance on the controversial activity.
Ideally, we'd like the government to not support deep-sea mining, but in the interim,
they have to.
We're asking them to at least consider a moratorium, right? Because you need to be focused on the BB&J agreement, which you've just signed, so which says let's protect the ecosystem, the high seas, this important area for the global common.
And the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade has yet to respond to requests for comment. Police in St. James are investigating the death of Grandspen resident Larry Robinson, otherwise called Larry. The man was reportedly attacked at around 8:15 Friday evening. Reports are that locals heard gunshots in the Bugs Bunny area of Lilliput, St. James, and summoned the police. It's understood that upon the arrival of the police, the body of the now deceased was discovered laying on his back in a pool of blood with what appeared to be gunshot wounds to his head and upper body. Robinson was taken to the Cornwall Regional Hospital, where he was pronounced dead upon arrival. Now to regional and international news.
We begin with news in the region. A local offshore environmental officer has expressed concerns that Guyana's Local Content Act of 2021 lacks sufficient enforcement when it comes to providing equal job opportunities for Guyanese. HGP TV News has more details on the officer's critique of the policy.
The 2021 Local Content Act, which seeks to give priority to Guyanese nationals and companies in the procurement of goods and services in the value chain of the petroleum operations, has been criticized by a local environment officer. Antonio Hackett, during an exclusive interview with Nicely News, heavily criticized the existing legislation, saying that it has no impact as foreign nationals continue to dominate job opportunities here.
It will be selling pipe dreams, I think, if you really believe that you're going to wake up tomorrow and have the act really and truly work in the interest of Guyanese. We have programs, we have training programs, we have different things going on which should be assisting Guyanese.
In Barbados, health officials have increased surveillance for the West Nile virus after confirmation the island has recorded one case. More from CBC News.
According to Dr. Arthur Phillips, the virus, which is spread by the Culex mosquito, was discovered in one patient.
We have detected one case of West Nile virus. This would have been documented in a report to WHO in September, as well as, this is under international health regulations, as well as in our surveillance bulletin, which we share with clinicians and healthcare providers.
That report from the World Health Organization states a child from Bagatelle St. Thomas contracted the illness, and the information was noted in the WHO Disease Outbreak News on October 3rd. Dr. Phillips says this is not the first case of the mosquito-borne infection in the region.
In international news, Lebanon is facing a terrible refugee crisis with people left destitute or displaced by Israeli airstrikes. That's according to the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. Here's the latest from the BBC.
There have been fresh Israeli airstrikes on southern Beirut as the humanitarian situation is worsening in the country, and there are fears of an Israeli attack on Iran. Well, these are just some of the live images overlooking Beirut, where Lebanon's health ministry is saying that 25 people have been killed and 127 have been wounded in Israeli strikes in Lebanon on Friday. Well, Israeli military says that it's killed 2 top Hamas officials in the north and the east of Lebanon, and Israel has bombed a mosque in the southern part of the country. It says was being used as a command center by Hezbollah fighters. Well, the building was next to a hospital, and at least 4 hospitals are now closed in the south because of those Israeli airstrikes. And the World Health Organization is saying at least 37 healthcare facilities have closed since Israel began its air bombardment of Lebanon 2 weeks ago. The UN says that more than 200,000 people have fled Lebanon into neighboring Syria, while Hezbollah says that it's fired rockets at the Ramat David air base near the city of Haifa in northern Israel, and sirens have sounded across northern Israel this.
And that's it for regional and international news. I'm Nika Lewis.
We're taking another break. Inspire Jamaica is next.
Me, I go show them my way of justice.
I'm abused.
I need legal advice. I don't deserve this.
The truth of the matter is, justice there for all of it. The Ministry of Justice has trained more than 5,600 persons in restorative justice practices. More than 200,000 victims have been supported by the victim services. Legal aid has reached thousands island-wide. Make we talk it out, not fight it out. Call 888 Justice today.
Welcome back. The COVID-19 era will long be remembered for flooding the technologically driven superhighway. It was during this extended downtime that the family of one of our newest inspirees discovered ways to improve learning capabilities of their child. Now they're sharing that knowledge with other parents. Over to Curlin Brown for Inspire Jamaica.
Reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place if you can.
Alex, good morning. Hi. Hi. Welcome to Genesis.
That conversation between a father and his 13-year-old son represents a breakthrough. You see, Alex Elaine, the couple's only child, was diagnosed at age 3 as being on the severe end of the autism spectrum. The Elaines are, however, well past the acceptance phase of this stigma. In fact, they've been documenting their experiences and sharing it on a platform they call Autistic Edge, a COVID dream.
I went to YouTube University and Google College. Yeah, and that was where I kind of learned quite a bit of technique. In my own research that I have done, we started working with him at home, having a little bit more flexibility. And in COVID, we started getting our first organized words. I believe the first word he said in COVID was daddy. I don't feel bad. I taught him, right? I taught him to say daddy. So I teach daddy and mommy and daddy teach mommy. So that's how we do it. And so now he's able to tell you hi, bye. There's a lot more that he is now able to do with our at-home intervention program.
Yeah. I want to add a little bit too, because YouTube for us is therapy.
We're gonna talk about banana. Whoa, I like how the banana sound. Banana bread, it is so sweet. You want to see me, they kill my teeth. Banana. No, me not remember the rest of the song. Did you know that bananas can boost speech therapy progress? Are you intrigued? Stick around and I'll show you how.
Well, so the channel itself has been a blessing and a ministry, right? And we've been reaching folks, you know, far and wide as a result.
Although Alex is still in the category of non-verbal, he's a model student, jumping over hurdles like being a picky eater.
He will just eat one item every single day, and that was very annoying to us. Yeah. But as we go along, we have persons in our life that has been, you know, very patient with us and patient with him as well.
And now, although he eats healthy,
Alex is on a seafood diet. When I say seafood diet, anything him see, him eat. That is it.
Yeah, that's the seafood.
That's the seafood diet. Right.
These parents take time to know their child and carefully design a lesson plan even during summer.
Speech therapy was one of our biggest areas. Motor therapy, where we work on fine motor and gross motor skills, and we work on, you know, sensory issues and all of that.
Now add to the fun activities before the start of school again, road and field trips, including to the zoo. The first name calling with one particular animal there was a real test.
When he saw the monkey and I tried to say, Alex, this is monkey, he said, mommy. Nothing could I get him to say something different. Alex, this is monkey. Mommy. Yes. And oh my God, I felt so bad. But anyway, it was a good exercise. But let me tell you, I was a proud mommy this year when we went. Who's this? Mommy. Who's that? Monkey. You can't talk to me again. You can't talk to me. So I was going to laugh after me. My time to laugh now. Come here, have a son, give me a give me 5. Yeah! Right. What's the name of the animal? Monkey. And Alex gets a medal for the correct pronunciation.